Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. Federal government set to review tariff policies to boost local production. FCT Minister Wike defends political choices, vows continued influence in Rivers politics. A Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicts 3-day dust haze, cloudiness nationwide. A very good day to you and welcome to Impact News Hour on First Next News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Now the news in full. The federal government has commenced strategic review of tariff policies to encourage local production, protect domestic industries, and ease the cost of doing business. This followed a high-level meeting with the Tariffs Review Board and the Minister of State of Finance, Dr. Doris Uzoka Aniti, where existing tariff regimes were weighed against the backdrop of rising production costs and foreign exchange pressures. Discussions focus on supporting the federal government's industrialization agenda, addressing challenges faced by local manufacturers and ensuring a balanced approach that facilitates essential imports while strengthening Nigerians' local value chains. Uzoka said the move is part of the government's strategy to boost industrial growth and enhance economic competitiveness, and emphasized the government's commitment to data-driven policy making and reforms aimed at building a more resilient, competitive, and inclusive Nigerian economy. The minister stated that a review is aimed at repositioning tariffs as tools for economic development rather than a constraint on productivity, adding that the focus is on encouraging local production, protecting homegrown industries, and easing the cost of doing business across key manufacturing value chains. Moving on, the federal government has inaugurated a 40 billion naira closed-circuit television camera CCTV center at the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos State. The CCTV center is built by China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC. Inaugurating the center, the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, said that the current administration met a very terrible Third Mainland Bridge. The Minister of Works says the President has directed total re-evaluation and rehabilitation of the surfaces of the Third Mainland Bridge and changing the expansion joints. He said the ministry will be handing over a boat and 2 Hilux vans, which are part of the contract to the police for monitoring the bridge. Away from that story, the federal government has expressed support for a new initiative targeting improved women's health outcomes with the launch of the Built for Her Foundation and the award of scholarships to 30 female medical students across Nigeria. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, Dr. Mayowa Alade, who represented the Minister of Health, Professor Muhammad Ali Patti, said the initiative aligned with the federal government's ongoing health sector reforms. She said the federal government is implementing the Nigerian Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative to strengthen the health system with a strong focus on women's health and the reduction of maternal and child mortality. Aladi added that closing the gender health gap was critical to the success of broader health reforms, noting that without intentional action for women, our broader health reforms cannot succeed. In another development, Nigerian Army has sustained scores of military operations within its area of responsibility, targeting criminals in border communities and forest reserves. It added that it had intensified clearance and internal security operations across parts of Kwara and Niger states. The efforts, the Army said, were aimed at combating banditry, kidnapping, and other security threats in the north-central region. Commander Headquarters 22 Armored Brigade, Brigadier General Nicholas Rume, stated this at the weekend during the Nigerian Army's social activities NASA at the Sobi Cantonment, Ilorin. He said the operations include Operation Fansan Yama, Operation Harmony in Kwara State, and the recently concluded Operation Park Strike 4 and 5, which covered Kainji Lake National Park, adjoining villages in Bogu local government area of Niger State, as well as Kayama and Baruten local government areas of Kwara State. We now move on to Edo State. The Edo State Governor Mande Okpebholo has said measures put in place to tackle kidnapping, cultism, and other crimes are yielding results. He said his administration had invested in modern security apparatus, intelligence gathering, and interagency collaboration to confront criminals. The governor was reacting to a protest by residents of Ekpoma in Esan West local government. He said kidnapping was being addressed, adding that security operations were ongoing across the state. Governor Okpebholo noted that security matters were sensitive and not suitable for public debate. We now move on to Kaduna State. The police have arrested 4 bandits in the Chukun local government area of Kaduna State, recovering 65 rusted cars in their possession. According to the police, operative of the police anti-kidnapping unit, acting on credible intelligence regarding the suspected activities of bandits and cattle rustlers, stormed the Kakura area of Chukun, where the bandits were apprehended. They identified the suspects as Ibrahim Shaibu alias Magaji, Buhari Ibrahim, both from Kakura, and Musa Haruna of Gora, of Abdullahi Idi of Dan Damisa of Zaria. In another development, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted dust haze and cloudiness from Sunday to Tuesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released in Abuja envisaged moderate dust haze on Monday over the northern region throughout the forecast period. NIMET predicted thick dust haze over the central region throughout the forecast period, with moderate dust haze over the inland cities of the southern region. It predicted sunny skies with patches of clouds over the coastal region, with chances of isolated thunderstorms accompanied by light rains over parts of Lagos, Bayelsa, and Rivers States later in the day. Moving on, the Nigerian Naira began the second week of January 2026 with continued fluctuations as market participants adjusted to early year liquidity shift in both the official and informal currency markets. In the Nigerian Foreign Exchange Market, NFEM, the local currency maintained a relatively stable position against the greenback. Trading data from the early hours of Monday indicates that the Naira opened at approximately 1,426 per dollar. As the session progressed, the rate saw minor appreciation, settling around 1,423 per dollar by midday. This movement reflects a 0.20% gain for the Naira, following efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to maintain transparency in price discovery and ensure a steady supply of foreign exchange to meet legitimate obligations. Market turnover remains a key indicator for observers, as the volume of dollars traded today will signal the level of corporate demand for the month of January. We now move on to Rivers State. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed criticism surrounding his political choices, insisting that politics is driven by interest, power, and the will of the people rather than sentiments or emotions. The minister stated this during the grand finale of his thank you tour of Obiakpo local government area, his political base, where he addressed a massive crowd of supporters and political leaders. While addressing his loyalists and supporters at the event, Wike emphasized that his decision to enter politics was deliberate and not accidental. Wike explained that he chose to be a politician and not a pastor, trader, public commentator, or a journalist, urging them to allow him to focus on his political career. He added that his visit to Obiakpo was born out of gratitude, noting that acknowledging support is a fundamental principle of leadership.
Let me thank you for accepting us to come to thank you. Yes, I'm from this local government. That is not the reason why we should take your support for granted. Right from 1999, when I ran as Chamber of Local Government, up to today, the people of Obiakpo have never disappointed me. Each time I call you, you've always answered me positively. I have never told anybody that I'm a trader. If I want to be a trader, I know those I will go to help me to do trading. I've never told anybody I'm a pastor. If I wanted to be a pastor, I will attend Sunday school every morning. I will go to school of theology because that's what I wanted to be. I choose to be a politician. I didn't say I'm a public commentator. I never said I want to be a journalist. I said I want to be a politician. And I'm a politician.
Moving on, the National Secretariat of the Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, has barred Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso from aspiring for next year's presidential election on its platform. National Secretary of the party, Ogini Olaposi, said in a statement yesterday that a transparent and constitutional process will be followed to select NNPP's candidates for the presidential poll. He affirmed NNPP's readiness to engage in alliances with like-minded political parties ahead of the 2027 elections. He said the party's leader believed the decision will strengthen NNPP's unity and democratic integrity as it prepares for the next general election. Moving on, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called on the federal government to immediately release detained social media critic Abubakar Salim Musa. Atiku made a demand via his verified X handle, condemning that what he described as a growing clampdown on dissent under the President Bola Tinubu administration. He was reacting to reports by Amnesty International Nigeria, which disclosed that Musa was arbitrarily arrested on the evening of January 11, 2026, and subsequently remanded at Kefi Prison. Abubakar Salim Musa has been remanded at Kefi Prison ahead of plans to put him through a sham trial based on bogus charges. Reacting, Atiku described Musa's arrest as yet another disturbing example of President Tinubu administration bearing its fangs against dissent, whether expressed through public protest or online criticism. According to him, Musa's only offense was his consistent and legitimate criticism of the worsening security situation in northern Nigeria and across the country. He accused the government of resorting to intimidation rather than addressing legitimate concerns, noting that Amnesty International had already labeled the charges against Musa as bogus and the legal process a sham trial. We now move on to the foreign scene. President Donald Trump says the U.S. military is considering very strong options in Iran as anti-government protests, which have reportedly killed hundreds, enter a third week. The U.S.-based human rights activist news agency says it has verified the death of nearly 500 protesters and 48 security personnel in Iran, while sources told newsmen that the death toll could be much higher. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to intervene and said that Iranian officials had called him to negotiate, but added U.S. have to act before a meeting. Iranian leaders have described the demonstrators as a bunch of vandals and called on their supporters to take part in pro-government marches on Monday. We now move on to sports. The Super Eagles received a cautious fitness boost as Captain Wilfred Ndidi was confirmed to be walking pain-free following the hamstring strain he sustained at the AFCON 2025 quarterfinal. The Super Eagles media officer Promise Efoge told the newsmen agencies of Nigeria that the early signs around Ndidi's injury were encouraging, although further checks would still be carried out. According to the media officer, the medical team will evaluate him again today to decide if a scan is necessary, but the initial indications suggest the injury may not be serious. That's all in the news this hour. I am Becky Usoro from I and the entire team in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.